There are a couple of moments within the score where I definitely sock you with Hans's main theme from the first movie. And that was pretty pleasurable. That was fun to do. Hi, I'm Harry Gregson-Williams, and I'm the composer of Gladiator II.
I claim this city for the glory of Rome.
I didn't really receive a brief so much as a phone call from Ridley asking me, well, actually telling me I'd want to do this. He was right. Of course I want to do it. Usually at the beginning of a Ridley assignment that involves going to see him. On this occasion, he was in his house in France, which is always fascinating to see him in his environment there. The film was partially made then, but there's quite a few visual effects in this film. And of course, the visual effects are pretty much undone at this stage. And the film was much longer than we know it's going to be. So it's a work in progress. We're working parallel. As he develops the film, I'm developing the soundtrack.
Strength and honor!
When I set sail to do the movie, one of the first conundrums was whether I should use some of what Hans had done in the first movie. With discussions with Ridley, it was clear that we didn't want to overdo that, and that we'd probably pick our moments, maybe a couple of moments, to use his main theme. So the way that I worked that was, the first thing that I did was I have a re-listen to Hans's score. You know, the main theme is the thing that sticks out to anybody. This descending seventh that he uses and repeats and uses and repeats. Why don't I make that part of Lucius's theme? So that's what I set out to do, and one of the first pieces I wrote, I think we call it Strength and Honor, was just based off this descending seventh. And I thought I would just, let's see how far I can take that, what I can make of that. There was a moment late in the script where the line was, it's at this moment that Lucius becomes Maximus. If I'm using this descending seventh within Lucius's new theme, I can make it make sense for Lucius's theme to become Maximus's theme, like it said in the script. So that was the concept behind that.
Lucius, take your father's strength.
You know, different directors use music in different ways to help tell the story that they're trying to tell. Music might be a part of an emotional arc of a character. Often, you know, music can be subversive as well. As composers, we don't necessarily have to be channeling exactly what we see on screen. You know, Tony Scott was a prime example of that. We developed a kind of style, quite a kinetic style. Ridley is more esoteric. You know, the music he's not so concerned with the music crashing into the front of a cut. He's more interested in the overall effect of what the music is doing.
It is an art, choosing gladiators.
I feel good about the film that we've made. I hope we made the right choices. I think there are a couple of moments in the film where we hark back to the kind of spiritual essence of the first film. There are a couple of moments within the score where I definitely sock you with Hans's main theme from the first movie. And that was pretty pleasurable. That was fun to do.
The odds are against you.
The odds are always against me.
Yeah, I joined PRS a long time ago. I was assisting composer Richard Harvey at the now non-existent Snake Ranch Studios. And I remember collecting the mail once, and there was a big old fat envelope with Richard's name on it. And he said, oh, that's my PRS statement. I said, what the hell's that? And he said, well, yeah, you'll find out. Maybe a year or two passed, and yeah, I got a very thin envelope. But I got an envelope nonetheless from PRS, having joined. These are things that we're very lucky to be a part of. And yeah, I've been with PRS ever since that day. I remember with some of the first royalties I ever earned, which would be quite humble, but they were enough to buy me my first Roland S760. Just after I'd met Hans Zimmer in London, and he had a whole rack of the damn things. But I think they cost about £3,000 or something like that, which money I did not have. I remember investing in my first few bits of gear purely due to having joined PRS and got a little bit of a royalty stream started. Or to someone who asks what my top tips would be, get yourself a really solid musical education. I know that sounds a little obvious, but you'd be surprised at the amount of people who are trying to bypass that. I think it might be a really good idea to get a good, solid education in music, and not necessarily music theory, if that's not your thing. I mean, that wouldn't hurt, but in music. Secondly, find someone to assist who's really busy, because the busier they are, the more they're going to need you. There's no point in assisting someone who only works twice a year. You know, that was a joy of working for Hans. He was just like asked to do so many things, and he was flourishing at that moment. So of course, crumbs might fall from the table. And my third piece of advice would be to not give up if you're pushed back at first. There are obstacles in the path that you want to take. You've got to beat a hasty retreat and find another way to go. But you do get pushed back quite a bit as a film composer. You get asked to redo things, rewrite things, rearrange things. But that's kind of the fun of the job, because by the time all said and done, is we're just really trying to make music that'll work within a film and bring something to a story. And it's pretty thrilling.